Wow, my goodness, that is a high step from all the ground clearance. I might as well touch up this trail rated badge that I've never seen on a Toyota. I like to see this because it reminds me that the Jeep is trail rated and I can take it on trails. Yep, it's just another day out exploring remote, beautiful areas in my trusty old Jeep. Really, really love this vehicle. Oh, I got some notifications. There's some comments on one of my YouTube videos. All right, let's see what we got here. Comments. Was going to get a Jeep next month. Toyota, here I come. We owned a Jeep and it was nothing but problems. Never buying a cheap again. I owned a Jeep Wrangler Rubicon and I will never, 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 ever, 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 never buy another Jeep. Your biggest mistake was relying on that Jeep. Their track record for dependability, performance is not good. Glad you finally made it. Well, that was nice. Should have bought a Toyota. Unfortunately, as much as I love driving a Jeep as a rental car, I would never buy one. They are notoriously unreliable. Consider buying a similar Toyota. The Toyota is super reliable. Man, get a Tacoma for your miseries. Well, I can see that. Never buy a Jeep. That's why you buy a Toyota. I hope you never buy another Jeep because Jeeps have turned to be nothing but money pits. Oh my God. Did you hear that? Money pit. I'm sure you understand this by now, but Jeeps are garbage. Really? That's why I love my Toyota 4Runner. What the hell? I've read bad things about Jeeps. Well, now I have too. Jeeps are notorious. Yes, dump the Jeep and buy a Toyota. There's so much hate for Jeeps. I didn't even realize. I know one thing about Jeeps. Never ever buy one. And especially used. Never own a Jeep. I wish I knew all of this a year and a half ago when I bought this piece of crap. Jeep. Just empty every pocket. Well, yeah. Modern Jeeps are absolute junk. Buy a second or third generation Toyota Tacoma and never look back. Hell, even a first generation or a 4Runner. Even a Ford Ranger or Chevy ZR2 is more reliable. Jeep is junk, period. What are you even doing here, Jeep? I can't read anymore. Well, hi, I'm Mike and welcome to Nowhere Bound. And if you're new to the channel, we're all about camping, exploring, going on adventures, usually with this piece of crap Jeep. And I also bring my teardrop camper and my dog Juniper most of the time. Now, all of the comments that I just read are from this video, which I'll post a link in the description as well. And that video is about a trip I took last year. I took this bone stock Jeep all the way out to the Colorado Rockies from Eastern Ohio. It turned out to be roughly 5,000 miles round trip. Early on in that trip, I was having issues with the Jeep, which were ultimately fixed, but because my Jeep was under warranty, there were some supply chain issues with the OEM parts, and long story, I ended up stranded for 5 days of the trip. And in the video, I openly expressed my frustration. The sensor went bad again. If this doesn't get fixed today on this stop, I'm trading this Jeep in at the next dealership I come across. I'm done. I am done. And it opened up the floodgates, as you just heard, with anti-Jeep comments on the video. And I'll go into more details about my Jeep issues a little later in the video. But by and large, the people who criticize my decision to buy this Jeep are Toyota fans.
Because I know that there's a lot of Toyota fans out there, and Toyota fans are some of the kindest, most genuine pieces of loving human that are out there.
And I think I gave the Toyota crowd a bit of vindication and stoked some anti-Jeep vibes, which may have been a little misleading and unintentional. So I need to clarify a few things about the reason why I decided to buy this Jeep instead of a Toyota or something else. And the reason I still love this Jeep, even after it stranded me and robbed me from a week of my planned trip. So let's do a quick comparison between a Jeep Wrangler and a Toyota 4Runner. The resale value, first of all, resale value is always a huge consideration when I'm shopping for a vehicle. Both the Wrangler and the 4Runner have excellent resale value. As you can see in this chart, the Wrangler shows a slight resale edge after 5 years, and after about 10 years, they're both pretty much the same. However, a 4Runner typically costs a few $1,000s more than a similarly equipped Wrangler. Now, these vehicles are already expensive, so saving some money on the initial purchase helped seal the deal for me. Now, regarding off-road capability, the Jeep is obviously off-road capable, and so is the Toyota. But I think the Jeep has a slight edge over the Toyota in the way the suspension system works. Jeeps have a solid axle, and when the sway bar is disconnected, that equals more articulation, better articulation between the wheels. When one wheel is up on an obstacle, the other wheel is pressed into the ground. Essentially, a solid axle is better off-road with the sway bar disconnected than independent suspension. It just is, it's a fact. It's also considered a little more rugged, and that was definitely a selling point. But the Wrangler might not be as comfortable on the highway as a 4Runner, but I'm willing to sacrifice a little bit of highway comfort in exchange for more off-road capability. Now let's talk about the Jeep Wrangler legacy, with a history that dates back all the way to 1941, when Willys Overland won the contract to build a new lightweight four-wheel drive reconnaissance vehicle for the military. The vertical slotted grille has a unique and enduring, iconic look that is uniquely American. That heritage is appealing to many people, including myself. Probably the biggest reason I chose to buy this Jeep versus a Toyota or something else is because, well, I think they're fun. Having owned this Jeep for a year and a half, I can tell you it is objectively fun to drive off-road. Plus, you can take the roof off if you want. You can take half the roof off in 2 minutes. You can put the windshield down if you want to. You can take the doors off. You can even put duckies, rubber ducks on the dashboard, which is something I'll never do. And no offense, if you're into that, it's just not my thing. I always re-gift my duckies if you ever feel like giving me one, but that's not to say a 4Runner isn't fun to drive, and to be fair, I've never test-driven one. And there's also the Jeep culture, the events, the clubs, the organized trail rides, the builds, the Jeep wave as you're driving past other Jeeple. The whole phenomenon surrounding this vehicle is unique, and no other vehicle has a culture like this. The only other vehicle that comes to mind with a culture is Harley Davidson, except they don't have any ducks. I'd like to see you put a duck on a Harley. Now let's face it, every vehicle breaks down eventually, including Toyotas, especially when they're routinely beaten up on trails or not maintained properly. Or sometimes it's just a fluke, which is exactly what happened to me. I had a minor oil leak coming from the valve cover gasket, which dripped onto the upstream O2 sensor, which caused it to fail, and that in turn caused a cascade failure on the other 2 downstream sensors. But I'm glad it happened when it did. It happened near a city, not in the mountains, where I would have been in deep trouble. And it's important for me to mention that Jeep Corporate did make it right. I filed a complaint along with all of my receipts for lodging and overnight shipping for the OEM oxygen sensors, and Jeep reimbursed me all of it. And now here we are 20,000 miles later and many trails later, and the Jeep is running just fine. So Jeep haters, you have been heard, and I understand your love for your beloved tacos and 4Runners. I like Toyotas too, and I'm certainly not trying to throw shade. However, one minor incident, such as mine, does not mean that my Jeep is a lemon or that all Jeeps suck. In fact, I was pretty blown away by how this Jeep handled the Colorado trails bone stock. It was unbelievable. And you can watch the video to see it for yourself. So let's keep the conversation going. Feel free to leave your comments below, and I'd like to hear from some Jeep owners about how much you love your Jeeps and why. The Toyota crowd is quick to judge my decision to buy a Jeep. However, I have to disagree. I love my Jeep, and I will continue to enjoy my beloved Jeep until it dies. So to quote Taylor Swift, why you gotta be so mean? Toyota fans, I recommend you check out this video from Whistlin Diesel. I'll link it in the description below and on the screen. And it is extremely entertaining. I think maybe it'll cheer you up a little. And if you enjoyed this video, Please remember to hit the like and subscribe button. And until next time, we'll see you nowhere soon. Thanks for watching. Have a great one.